Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Gen Politics. So recently I've gone down the ultra processed food rabbit hole and I've learned some pretty shocking things. So I wanted to read a little excerpt from a CBS article talking about this very thing. According to this article, almost 60% of calories in the average American diet come from ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods with added ingredients like preservatives, artificial flavors, and colors make up 73% of the food supply in the US, and they're linked to issues such as diabetes, obesity, depression, and cancer. Now, that was surprising to me. 60% of our calories are ultra processed food. 73% of the food in the food supply is ultra processed. So, what is ultra processed food and how is it different from regular processed or non processed? Well, non processed food would be raw ingredients, right? Just getting celery or raw beef or something from the store. Processed food is when you get into food that is made with base ingredients, but that has already gone through some sort of production. So if I get a chicken pot pie from the store, but its base ingredients are just, peas, chicken, bread, yeast, right? The raw ingredients I could find in my home, that is processed food. Ultra processed food is when you get into things that you would never find in your home. Chemicals you can't pronounce and you have no idea what they are, artificial food dyes, stuff like that. So things that are not good for the human body, not even close to being raw ingredients. That's what ultra processed food is. So the thing about ultra processed food is America allows tens of thousands of chemicals and pesticides in our food that other countries throughout the world don't. Europe and Canada, if you look at basically any major food product, from Doritos to Fruit Loops to anything, if you look at the difference in ingredients between the US and Canada, they're drastic, because Canada and Europe in general does not allow the certain chemicals and food dyes that we do that have been caused to these problems like cancer, depression, all the stuff that's affecting people to an exorbitant degree in America compared to basically every other country in the world. That's why we're so unhealthy. So this is something that's very interesting to me, that it's that much. I was surprised that 73% of the food we have and 60% of the calories we intake is this ultra processed food. No wonder everybody's sick. No wonder everybody feels terrible. And no wonder we have this ongoing mental health crisis. I mean, that's clearly not the only reason that's causing it, but it's something that impacts it, right? When you think about everything you put into your body, it's a matter of inputs and outputs. And everything you put in is going to affect the output that you have. So if you're putting a bunch of food that is not good for you, that dulls your mental state, creates brain fog or depression or emotional fluctuations in hormone levels, or food that is just terrible for your body, creates inflammation or other problems, the outputs are going to be awful, right? Like those are going to be representative of the inputs. If you're not eating food that helps you be healthy, think clearly, then you're not going to think clearly or be healthy. That's pretty obvious. And a lot of people don't make that connection, right? We are what we eat. We truly are. And when we're eating food that's just actually terrible for the human body, just because it makes it look a little prettier or just because it makes it a little cheaper, it's a huge problem. And so that's why RFK wants to ban all these chemicals. He even said, he's not going to ban fast food. He's going to ban some of the products used in fast food that make it super inexpensive at the cost of you and your health. You're paying for it with your health and your well-being. These chemicals, these pesticides, whatever they are, that every other country in the world doesn't allow because they realize they're bad for the human body, but America still does because we have such a powerful, medical lobby that, one, wants to serve you poison food because it's cheaper, and then two, sells you drugs to cure the problems that, or really mask the problems that you're having, because they don't cure anything, because the underlying symptoms are metabolic ones. It's because you're not inputting things that are going to get to a proper output. And no matter how many drugs you take to mask the symptoms of the output, if you don't change the input, nothing is going to change. And you could say, oh, well, people just eat healthier. Organic food's expensive. It's very expensive. And for people right now, that's a hard thing to do. In America, you pay for health, right? Like you pay for, obviously on the surface, the medical industry. The more money you have, the better healthcare you're going to get. But also the fact that it's expensive to eat food that doesn't poison you. You have to pay to not be poisoned by your food. 73% of this food is ultra processed, which means it's hard to find food. It's scarce that's, good for you. And it's going to be expensive because it's going to be competitive to get. And there's not a lot of organic beef farmers out there. And that's a huge problem that we need to solve, is that we can't be having our poor people suffer and basically, are getting poisoned because they're too poor to not get poisoned, right? Like, health should not be a luxury in the country. So this is a problem that RFK wants to solve, and for some reason people are against it. Like, they don't want people to be healthy. They don't want to take down big pharma just because he's on Trump's team, right? And that's kind of the disturbing partisanship that's happening in the country, is even if somebody's got great ideas and wants to do something that services us all, because they're on the wrong team, I don't like them for some reason that I can't explain. So I think we need to get behind RFK on this, because this is a huge problem. It's been a problem. And you're the one paying the price. You're the one who's poisoning yourself or getting poisoned, right? You barely have any conception of what's in your food. Nobody knows what these chemicals are, not off the top of their head. You have to go to Google and look them up, because it's not raw ingredients. It's poisons and dyes and things like this that are awful for the human body, but saves the companies a buck, and then they can sell you some medicine later. So this is something I think they're clearly going to tackle, and it's something that I think most Americans can get behind. I've seen a more holistic way of living kind of taking over on the internet spaces, people talking about this, how a lot of our problems can be solved, not just masked, by giving us the proper inputs, doing the things that are good, health and exercise, things that we've taken for granted, thinking that we can just buy our way out of that, which is not really the case. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this is kind of shocking news, but it just shows the state of how bad things are in America and the food industry we have. So I hope they really, really tackle it and make America healthy again. So that's my thoughts on this. I want to know if you're as shocked as I was about some of these numbers. Let me know that down in the comments below. If you like the video, like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching.